Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Fusion. If you enjoy our content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. The word foolish, as used here, refers to behaviors or attitudes characterized by carelessness or poor judgment, noticeable through specific actions or attitudes. Let's explore them closely. The first sign: speaking more than thinking. People who often speak without proper thought or just speak excessively to show they know everything tend to demonstrate carelessness in their thinking and communication. Such behavior includes exaggeration, gossiping, or expressing opinions on matters they have no genuine knowledge about. This habit can significantly diminish their credibility. Examples include interrupting others before they've finished speaking or giving opinions on every single issue, even those in which they have no expertise. Speaking more than thinking can be connected to various aspects such as psychology, social science, and communication. Although a comprehensive explanation of 8,000 words is beyond the scope here, we'll cover essential points thoroughly, focusing on the observable behaviors, their impacts, and ways to improve. Fundamentally, speaking more than thinking refers to speaking without consideration or excessively talking about matters irrelevant to the current context or conversation. Sometimes this excessive speech arises from a lack of emotional control or the urge to continuously share opinions without reflecting upon their potential effects on listeners or the discussion overall. Common characteristics include: 1. Non-stop talking. People who speak excessively usually cannot pause or let others express their views. Such one-sided conversations create an unnatural atmosphere, making others feel bored or uncomfortable. 2. Exaggerating the truth. Excessive speaking might include exaggerating or boasting about unverified claims. Such speech blurs the lines between truth and exaggeration, damaging the speaker's credibility. 3. Talking about unnecessary things. Sometimes, people who speak too much discuss irrelevant issues, causing wasted time and preventing meaningful exchanges. 4. Speaking for self-display. Excessive speaking might originate from the desire to appear knowledgeable or skilled. Sometimes the speaker might not even care if listeners are genuinely interested, driven only by the need to showcase their opinions extensively. Causes of excessive talking. 1. Anxiety. Some people talk excessively due to anxiety or fear of judgment from others. Talking more than necessary may act as a defense mechanism against feelings of insecurity or inadequacy. 2. Need for validation. Often, excessive talkers seek approval or appreciation from others. They may mistakenly believe speaking more frequently brings recognition or attention. 3. Misconceptions. Some people incorrectly assume that talking extensively equates to knowledge or expertise. In reality, excessive speech might imply that the speaker lacks self-control. 4. Lack of listening skills. Individuals who talk too much might lack the essential skill of listening, neglecting to give others the opportunity to express their views. They focus excessively on themselves rather than engaging meaningfully with others. 5. Poor emotional control. Excessive talking sometimes arises when individuals can't manage their emotions effectively, spontaneously voicing thoughts without considering potential consequences. Consequences of excessive talking. 1. Missing opportunities to listen. When people speak excessively, they seldom have opportunities to listen to feedback or ideas from others. Consequently, they miss valuable learning experiences. 2. Boring others. Excessive talking disrupts the balance of conversation, making listeners feel bored, disinterested, or undervalued. 3. Damaging credibility. Speaking excessively or exaggerating can undermine one's credibility, especially when conversations veer into irrelevant or false information. 4. Harming relationships. Excessive talking without actively listening to others can damage relationships within groups or teams, creating misunderstandings and feelings of disconnection. How to improve excessive talking habits. 1. Practice active listening. Learn to listen attentively instead of attempting to say everything you think. Careful listening enables better understanding and helps you contribute more meaningful opinions. 2. Speak concisely. Aim for brevity and clarity when speaking. When your speech is concise and purposeful, others value and respect your input more. 3. Ask more questions. Asking questions allows you to learn from others, giving space for meaningful contributions, and fostering quality conversations. 4. Manage emotions effectively. Practice emotional control during conversations, preventing excessive talking driven by anxiety or excitement. 5. Accept others' opinions. Openly listening to others' perspectives, without hastily imposing your views, shows respect and improves the quality of discussions. 6. Think before speaking. Focus on making statements that add value to the conversation, avoiding unnecessary speech. In summary, excessive speaking can arise from anxiety, a desire for attention, or inadequate emotional control. It negatively affects communication balance, causing listeners boredom and frustration. Developing listening skills and emotional control can improve communication effectiveness and create meaningful interactions. The second sign: refusing to accept mistakes. Individuals who consistently refuse to acknowledge their mistakes or shortcomings tend to display rigidity, resisting advice or criticism, and often shifting blame onto others. This attitude reveals their unwillingness to learn and develop personally. Rejecting accountability prevents individuals from learning valuable lessons from mistakes, potentially damaging their relationships. Examples include shifting blame onto situations or other people rather than accepting their role, ignoring feedback or criticism, and assuming that they're always right. Why is observing these two traits important? Observing these behaviors isn't intended to judge or insult anyone but to understand and appropriately interact with them. Recognizing these signs helps us identify similar tendencies within ourselves and correct them, contributing positively to personal growth. How to avoid being seen as foolish. 1. Think before speaking. Speak constructively and relevantly to the context. If uncertain, opt to listen more than speak. 2. Open-minded learning. Accept your own mistakes willingly, listen to feedback courteously, and continuously strive for improvement. In conclusion, recognizing these two behaviors is not about labeling anyone as foolish, but rather about highlighting differences in judgment and attitude. It enables better self-awareness and interpersonal relationships. Refusing to accept personal mistakes is a significant issue in psychology and human behavior, influencing personal life and relationships significantly. Avoiding responsibility and accountability inhibits personal development and negatively impacts interpersonal relationships. Meaning of refusing to accept mistakes. Refusing to accept one's mistakes refers to a person's unwillingness to acknowledge their own faults or failures, typically involving blame shifting to external circumstances or others. People exhibiting this behavior resist self-criticism, avoid accountability, and often reject valuable feedback. Such behavior indicates inadequate experiential learning and, in the long term, negatively affects one's character and relationships. Consequences of refusing to accept mistakes. 1. Lack of personal growth. Rejecting mistakes hinders learning and self-improvement. Embracing mistakes is critical for personal growth across life domains, such as professional tasks, relationships, and skill development. Rejecting accountability reduces adaptability in various situations. 2. Strained relationships. Refusal to acknowledge mistakes increases tension within interpersonal relationships, such as those with colleagues, friends, or family members. Blaming others fosters dissatisfaction and conflicts. 3. Professional damage. Professionally, refusing responsibility can delay critical corrections, negatively affecting outcomes of tasks or projects. This attitude can erode trust and confidence from colleagues and supervisors. 4. Exacerbating problems. Avoiding accountability doesn't solve problems. Rather, it intensifies them. Ignoring issues or denying mistakes leads to increased complexity and challenges. Methods to improve and accept mistakes. Accepting mistakes is a skill developed through continuous effort and experiential learning. Consider these methods to strengthen this essential capability. 1. Embrace criticism. Welcoming constructive feedback is one of the most effective ways to learn from mistakes. Openness to feedback facilitates personal growth and improvement. 2. Reflect honestly. Reflecting on past actions and mistakes helps identify what went wrong and how to improve. Ask yourself critical questions like, "What went wrong?" and "How can I handle this better?" This reflection helps identify areas needing improvement. 3. Set realistic goals. Defining attainable and practical goals reduces pressure and fear of failure. Accepting that perfection isn't always achievable cultivates a healthier attitude toward handling mistakes. 4. Learn from mistakes. View mistakes positively, as opportunities to learn. Adopting this perspective transforms mistakes into valuable life lessons that build resilience and strength. In summary, refusing to acknowledge personal mistakes significantly impacts personal growth and relationships. By embracing constructive criticism, reflecting honestly, setting realistic goals, and learning from experiences, we can transform mistakes into valuable opportunities for self-improvement, growth, and resilience. In the previous discussion, we explored two primary behaviors associated with foolishness: talking more than thinking and refusing to accept mistakes. While these behaviors might seem like simple personality flaws, they are deeply rooted in psychological mechanisms that influence human thinking and decision-making. Understanding the psychological principles behind these behaviors can help us identify, manage, and ultimately improve our communication and self-awareness. In this section, we will explore key psychological theories related to these tendencies and practical ways to overcome them. 1. Cognitive biases and their role in foolish behavior. One of the primary reasons people engage in excessive talking or refuse to acknowledge mistakes is the presence of cognitive biases, mental shortcuts that distort our perception of reality. These biases often lead to overconfidence, misinformation, and resistance to change. 1.1 The Dunning-Kruger Effect. Why some people think they know everything. The Dunning-Kruger Effect, a well-documented cognitive bias, explains why people with lower competence in a subject tend to overestimate their knowledge and abilities. This effect occurs because those who lack knowledge also lack the ability to recognize their own incompetence. For example, a person who has read a few articles about economics may believe they understand global financial markets and speak extensively about the subject, despite having no formal education or real expertise. How to overcome the Dunning-Kruger effect. Practice metacognition. Regularly reflect on your own knowledge and question whether you truly understand a subject before speaking about it. Seek expert feedback. Instead of assuming you are right, actively seek input from those with proven expertise. Embrace intellectual humility. Accept that there is always more to learn and that being silent when uncertain is often wiser than speaking without full understanding. 1.2 Confirmation bias. Why people struggle to admit they're wrong. Confirmation bias is another major factor contributing to foolish decision-making. This bias causes people to favor information that supports their existing beliefs while ignoring or rejecting evidence that contradicts them. This explains why some people refuse to admit their mistakes. They instinctively seek justifications that protect their ego, rather than acknowledging where they went wrong. How to overcome confirmation bias. Challenge your own beliefs. Make it a habit to seek out opposing viewpoints and genuinely consider them. Encourage constructive debate. Engaging with diverse perspectives can help you recognize potential flaws in your reasoning. Ask, what if I'm wrong? Adopting a mindset of curiosity rather than defensiveness makes it easier to accept mistakes. 2. Self-regulation and emotional intelligence, the key to speaking less and listening more. Psychologists have long studied self-regulation, the ability to control emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in pursuit of long-term goals. This is particularly relevant when it comes to impulsive talking and defensiveness. 2.1 Impulse control. Why some people talk too much. Excessive talking can be linked to poor impulse control, a core aspect of self-regulation. Some individuals feel an urge to fill silence with words, whether out of anxiety, the desire for social validation, or simply the habit of speaking without thinking. How to develop better impulse control in conversations. Practice mindfulness. Being aware of your urge to speak allows you to pause and assess whether your words are necessary. Use the think before you speak rule. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this true? Is it helpful? Is it necessary? Adopt active listening. Focus on truly understanding others rather than waiting for your turn to speak. 2.2 Ego protection. Why admitting mistakes feels difficult. From a psychological standpoint, refusing to accept mistakes often stems from ego protection mechanisms. People tend to associate admitting mistakes with weakness or failure, which can trigger feelings of embarrassment or insecurity. However, studies in self-compassion and emotional intelligence suggest that embracing mistakes can actually increase resilience and personal growth. How to overcome ego protection mechanisms. Reframe mistakes as learning opportunities. Instead of seeing mistakes as personal failures, view them as necessary steps toward growth. Develop a growth mindset. According to psychologist Carol Dweck, a growth mindset helps individuals embrace challenges and learn from criticism. Practice self-compassion. Recognizing that everyone makes mistakes allows you to be less defensive and more willing to learn. 3. Social psychology and the impact of foolish behavior. Foolish behaviors not only affect individuals internally, but they also impact social dynamics. Psychological research in social influence and group dynamics reveals why some behaviors persist in social settings. 3.1 The Spotlight Effect. Why people talk more than necessary. The spotlight effect is a psychological phenomenon where individuals overestimate how much attention others are paying to them. This can lead to behaviors like over-explaining, dominating conversations, or speaking just to appear knowledgeable. How to overcome the spotlight effect. Realize people are focused on themselves. Most people are not scrutinizing your every word, so there is no need to dominate conversations. Be comfortable with silence. Silence is not awkward. It can be a sign of confidence and thoughtfulness. Let others contribute. Balance conversations by encouraging others to share their perspectives. 3.2 Groupthink. How social pressure prevents people from admitting mistakes. Groupthink occurs when individuals go along with the majority opinion to maintain harmony, even if they personally disagree. This often leads to poor decision-making and reluctance to challenge incorrect viewpoints. For example, in a corporate setting, an employee might notice a mistake in a project but refrain from speaking up due to fear of conflict or social rejection. How to combat groupthink. Encourage dissenting opinions. Actively seek out different viewpoints before making decisions. Create a culture of psychological safety. When people feel safe expressing their opinions, they are more likely to admit mistakes and engage in honest discussions. Ask, what are we missing? Cultivating a mindset of skepticism helps uncover potential blind spots. 4. Practical strategies for becoming more thoughtful and open-minded. By understanding the psychology behind foolish behavior, we can take actionable steps to speak more wisely and be more receptive to feedback. 4.1 Strategies to speak less and listen more. Pause before speaking. Give yourself a few seconds to assess whether your contribution adds value. Engage in active listening. Focus on understanding, not just responding. Embrace the power of silence. Sometimes, the wisest thing to say is nothing at all. 4.2 Strategies to accept mistakes and learn from them. Replace blame with responsibility. Instead of blaming others, ask, what can I do differently next time? Reframe criticism as constructive feedback. View feedback as an opportunity to grow, not a personal attack. Acknowledge imperfection. Nobody is right all the time. Wisdom comes from learning. Conclusion. The psychology of wisdom. Understanding why people engage in foolish behaviors allows us to address these tendencies intelligently and compassionately. By recognizing cognitive biases, practicing self-regulation, and applying insights from social psychology, we can develop greater self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and intellectual humility. In the end, wisdom is not about always being right. It is about being willing to learn, listen, and grow. By making small but consistent changes in how we communicate and process feedback, we can foster more meaningful conversations, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of personal growth.